Welcome to Revelations is relevant in our times. It is relevant because our time is the end times. My name is Carl. In part 3, we will look at the first 4 seals leading to the Great Tribulation. We will also see how Daniel's last 7 years superimposed into the timeline. A review of what we covered in the previous module. The first 4 seals, commonly referred to as the 4 horsemen, 5th seal, Great Tribulation, 6th seal, Cosmic Blackout, and Jesus appearing in the clouds. 7th seal, Rapture, and God's judgment unto the earth. Let's zoom into the first 5 seals. All the 4 horsemen are global events. Almost the whole world will feel it. We have now entered the black horse of hyperinflation. Some parts of the world is already experiencing food shortages. Unfortunately, looking at current affairs, I am not confident that this is going to pan out. Seems like it will only get worse. Many times, these seals are presented in a block fashion, one after another. It gives the wrong visual that after the white horse is done, the red horse starts. And after the red horse is done, the black horse starts. But that is not the case. In reality, they do not go away. They stay while the next horse is unsealed and keep going all the way to the end, accumulating and building up to the perfect storm. Unsealing is releasing something. The Bible says the restraint is removed and there's no mention of sealing it back. In fact, those from the other camp is getting bolder in deceiving schemes, and great war is waiting to re-erupt. And food prices will reach a point where one day's wage is only enough to buy one meal. Let me highlight that after Jesus said that we will hear wars and rumors of wars, he continued to tell us to be chill, sabai in Thai. All these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Many early generation Christians felt that they were in the pale horse during the Black Plague of Europe, and that they were going through great tribulation during the Nazi persecution and Spanish Inquisition. But after the red horse, there is still quite a long runway to go. But once the black horse appears, the speed suddenly increases many folds. In the next few slides, I will show you why when we superimpose Daniel's last 7 years. Daniel chapter 9 talks about the 77s or the 70 weeks. The 7 refers to 7 years. The first 7 and the next 62:7 has already been fulfilled by our Lord coming as the sacrificial lamb. You can find many write up on the 69:7, so I leave it for you to do your own research. However, the last 1:7 has not been fulfilled yet. Daniel talks about the abomination that causes desolation rearing his ugly head in the middle of that 7. First, he is not Christ, but Antichrist. Middle of the 7, splitting the 7 years into 3.5 years. Abomination. He is abominable to God because he places his image in the most holy place and declare himself as the Messiah. Desolation. Jerusalem will be trampled and made desolate when he begins his persecution. Jewish and Christian practices will be renounced. So, with this, there are 3 signs in Israel that we must watch closely. Peace brokering in the Middle East, not the small ones, but the final big one. And that will pave the way for the third temple to be rebuilt. And after 3.5 years later, he will put his image there and declare himself God. When we superimpose Daniel's last 7 years, we can fit the last 3.5 years with the Great Tribulation. There are many references to the 3.5 years of the Great Tribulation. 7 such references, in fact. The middle of the 7 had been discussed. Then there is the 1260 days. Jewish calendar is 360 days. 1260 divided by 360 gives you 3.5 exactly. There are 2 references for about 42 months. 42 divided by 12 again gives you 3.5 exactly. Then there are 3 references to time, times, and half a time. Time is 1 year. Times normally refer to 2 years. Half a time is half a year, adding up to 3.5 years. In September 2022, just a few months ago, an article in Jerusalem Post raises the urgency for many end times watchers like myself. The Jews excitedly found and shipped 5 perfect red heifers from Texas to Jerusalem. These 1-year-old unblemished calves are kept for temple sacrifice. The third temple is explicitly mentioned. These heifers are only good for sacrificial purposes when they are between 3 to 4 years old. If the temple is not going to be ready soon, why ship these heifers over? They are not going to breed their own heifers there. Ranchers in Texas, run by devout Jews, are raising unblemished calves for this purpose. Wouldn't these 5 unblemished and precious calves be better off to stay put in Texas ranches to breed future purebreds? They know something we do not know. They, as in the high-ups, are confident that the third temple will be ready in 2 to 3 years' time. I have a reference from templeinstitute.org, the authority on the Temple of Jerusalem, quoting that the heifers should be 3 or 4 years old. That means by September 2024, the heifers will be of age for sacrifice. The window ends around September 2025. If they can accept 5 or 6 years old heifer, then we got an extra year or so more. Brothers and sisters, this is the crux. I will leave you to count when tribulation happens and when Christ returns. I hope I'm wrong, and that the temple won't surface so soon. In fact, I'll be glad if I'm wrong. That will buy us more time. In closing, note that there is the devil's tribulation. It will be great distress for us. In fact, if God do not cut it short to 3.5 years, we cannot survive it. But on the other hand, God's wrath is even more fierce. Antichrist and his followers, none shall escape it. Bottom line, don't take his mark nor join his camp. More on the mark in later modules. And we also know where they will eventually end up. We do not want to be with them. In conclusion, we are not appointed unto wrath. Therefore, fear God and fear his wrath more than fearing the devil's tribulation. As promised, the first 3 parts ending here is the most crucial and should not be missed. In the next module, we will move along the chapters in Revelation, a mini Bible study, and fitting these events into the 7 seals timeline. However, if you had enjoyed the first 3 parts, I would encourage you to listen to the next 3. It has to do with the mark of the beast and Christians falling away. Yes, the Bible clearly says that in the end times, many will fall away. The purpose of me making this mini-series is in hope of creating awareness, alerting, and helping many from falling away. Till then, this is Carl. See you in the next module.